Hello, and welcome to Of the People on the Road Mobile Edition. I am Robert Chernin, and with us, we're thrilled to have Tyler Bowyer, who is the COO of Turning Point USA Action, the country's largest grassroots youth organization in the country. He also happens to be the national committee man from Arizona. Tyler, welcome to Of the People. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, we're in New Hampshire, First in the Nation Summit. What are you guys doing on the ground here in terms of outreach to build on your successes so far?
Well, Turning Point Action is predominantly focused on the states that are most important for the presidential cycle. So our big focus is Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia.
So in the general, not the primary.
Well, the general is where the votes get manipulated by the left. We know that, right? That's where they've spent so much time. You've probably heard so much about Maricopa County, my home.
Just a little bit in the 2020 election cycle.
A little bit,
right?
But, it's not just Maricopa County.
Right.
We're talking about Milwaukee and Waukesha and Racine, and there's so much that's happening in so many of these counties that most people outside those states don't even realize, because that's the tip of the spear for how the left is trying to dominate our elections.
So Turning Point USA Action has been incredibly successful, but obviously Republicans lost in 2020.
Yep.
So tell me what you're doing differently in terms of your game plan, your ground ops, whatever you want to call it,
Okay.
so that 2024 has a different outcome, and that Turning Point USA Action is a large part of the reason.
Because you're from the Northeast, I'm going to be very direct with you. Okay.
And what was your first?
And
clue,
they
right?
are
exactly.
They aren't as direct in the Midwest.
Okay.
But in the Northeast, we can be more direct.
Right.
I mean, look, the Democrats 20 years ago figured out that the party structure, the party infrastructure is not good. And they started building all this stuff outside the party, outside the Democrat Party.
Okay.
And in 2020 and 2016 and 2012 and for the past 20 years, we keep hearing over and over, oh, well, the RNC is going to do everything. Well, the Republican Party can do everything. All voter contacts, voter registration, all this stuff. And that's just not true. The failure of 2020 was we had a party, a top-down party, that doesn't listen to the grassroots, that doesn't focus on the grassroots, that says they're going to do everything. And we know they're not. You know how we know that? We've lost elections over and over and over again now. For the last 3 election cycles, it's been a disaster. So our admonition to the party, and this is coming from a person that's on the RNC. I'm the national commitment for Arizona.
I was going to ask you about that.
I'm going to tell the party can't do everything. It's a huge mistake to have, the chairwoman and other party chairs say they can do it all. They can't. Again, the Democrats figured this out 20 years ago, and they started building all this stuff outside the party and getting smart with how they spend their dollars. And it's way easier for 501c3s and nonprofits to do voter registration work. Way better for 501c4s and PACs to do ballot chasing efforts. And we know Democrats are ballot harvesting. So what are they doing? They're identifying ballots, and they're taking message. Why is Joe Biden not debating?
Because he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. You know why? It's better for them if he shuts the heck up, sits down in the basement, and then they micro-target all these crazy, asinine things that the Democrats are supporting. And so when they do that, in 50-50 states like Arizona is now, right? Arizona is a predominantly conservative state that's more competitive. Wisconsin for a long time has been a 50-50 state. I would argue New Hampshire in the history of New Hampshire, has always been a 50-50 state. It's been very competitive for a really long time. What are the Democrats doing differently? They're micro-targeting, especially in recent years. And if we do those activities the same way and with the same efficacy that the Democrats are doing it, we're going to be able to win New Hampshire. We're going to be able to win for a long time, forever, Iowa. We're going to win forever Wisconsin and Arizona and Georgia. But if we don't get on the horse and do that immediately, we're going to not only lose these states, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, but they're going to move into other states like Idaho and Tennessee. And people think I'm crazy when I say these things, but they have figured out a method.
That's a bit of a stretch for most people who are politically in the game to win some of those states. I hope you're right. So here's the other question for you. Politics is the one sport, if you will, that the more you lose, the more credibility you gain. We have lost essentially or performed below expectations in 3 cycles.
Yep.
Right? What's your prediction for 2024? And do you want to weigh in on the Republican primary since you are at the First in the Nation Summit in New Hampshire? And you can take a pass if you want to, but I had to ask.
No, I mean, look, here's the deal. Right now, Trump is ahead 50 points. So it's like, let's look at, I'll use an example on the left. John Fetterman. John Fetterman is a potato, right? He's a potato. He's a potato with legs. He's Mr. Potato Head.
I thought you said the Northeast people were the direct ones.
Well, I'm a very direct person too. That's why I get along with people from the North. That's why I married someone from New Jersey.
Absolutely.
So, look, he's a potato. And they didn't challenge him really, right? Why didn't they? Because they knew he had the grassroots support. They focused all their efforts, resources on getting out votes.
You mean the machine?
The machine,
right.
The infrastructure. Well, why is that? Because John Fetterman isn't the only one running for office. There's hundreds of people in Pennsylvania running for office below him. And if John Fetterman, they spend all their time and energy and money trying to stop John Fetterman from running when he's 50 points ahead on their side, then you're wasting your money when you could win all these other races. I don't think there's a single Democrat that loves John Fetterman as their U.S. Senator. There's probably not a single national guy that does, but the grassroots supported him, and so they're like, oh, we're going to focus all our efforts on other things. We've got to do the same thing on our side, which we have to look at this and say, guys, we have to stop doing silly things that are wasting money. You know, I tell people this all the time, and I'm not bashful saying it. Tim Scott, nice guy. Spending $50 million is just like throwing $50 million in the fire. He's not gonna win the presidency.
We've got to stop playing by the Marcus of Queens.
Nikki Haley,
rules.
Same thing.
Nice. So I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you got it.
Folks, you've been listening with Tyler Bowyer, who is the president of Turning Point Action, or USA Action, or Action USA, I'll get that right.
Turning Point Action.
Turning Point Action, the largest conservative grassroots youth organization in the country. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Tyler, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Got it. Appreciate it.